What do I think about the toxicity in the figure community? I try to avoid it.
He's right. He's right. But you know what? I'm going to say something kind of crazy. The community, the figure community, a big part of it, unlike certain other communities, it's very hard to avoid it in something like Star Wars, right? You into Star Wars, you're into Star Wars. And it doesn't matter how mild you think you're into it, even if casual fan can't help. I even watch people where they go on and they do like the little review or whatever, the first time watching Star Wars, and then there's a lot of positivity, but you can't avoid the fact that negative stuff is going to be there. But here's what I think is interestingly unique to figure collecting and positivity in general. We make this community that surrounds us individually what we're going to get out of it. Yes, there is toxicity because this is a huge hobby. And just like any other huge hobby, you will run into the negative. But stick with me here for a second. In fact, come on a small journey with me for a moment, please. This is my collection. It is not your collection. It will never be your collection. It will not look like your collection. And it doesn't have to. I'm an opener. I like these things to be on the shelf. I like to take them off at regular intervals, move them around, change their positioning and things of that nature. I like certain things that other people don't like. Wonder Woman is my favorite DC comic book character, end all be all, right above the Green Lanterns. I like Motu, and I like the Masterverse more than this. But I do like this, so I cherry pick it. These are the Turtles that I grew up with. That's why they belong here. That's one of my favorite pictures I've ever put on the wall. These are the G.I. Joes that I have collected so far, with more left to open. That is one of my all-time favorite Pokemon to have ever existed, ever. I am, by design, somewhat of a Gen 1er. They just happen to have some of my favorite Pokemon. My favorite Pokemon ever, being Cyndaquil, came from the second gen. I like the Fantastic Four. This went on my shelf. This just speaks to me because it's cool. That was one of my all-time favorite Iron Man designs. I like this character a little more than most of the other characters in the Avengers movies because she's a person, and every moment that she doesn't have superpowers, she is on the line and seems the only one in the first movie that is visibly stressed and damaged by the situation that she is undertaking, while everybody else seems to be an invincible superhero. That's why she's on the shelf. These are the figures that I've left to open. I love Barbarians a lot. They are my absolute main go-to portion of my collection. And you see, this is where the beauty of collecting happens. All of this I have put together over time on my own by cherry picking the things that mattered to me. And so if we are continuing with that same question, how do you deal with the negativity in the figure collecting community? I do not interact with it. It's that simple. I don't, and I won't. I only have so much life to live. And while every now and then somebody will say something, I will give it a shot to try at least maybe one comment to say when somebody's like, oh, case in point. Somebody recently told me that I was an idiot for having bought the loose collector Red Sonja, to which I told them, oh, and because the other Red Sonja is going to be so much better. the one that's coming out for $40. To which my response to that was, well, funny thing about that, what we like is subjective. So what you like has no impact whatsoever on what I like necessarily, and vice versa. I'm glad that you like the new Red Sonja, but I don't regret buying the one that I bought at all. I tried one time, and I immediately got a response, "You're wrong." And then he listed the reasons of wrong, and I moved on with my life. I will not interact with negative fans at all, because they didn't build my collection. They didn't spend my money. They didn't cherry pick my likes and dislikes. You see? The unique thing about our hobby over many other hobbies is that collecting is a very personal, speaking thing. Your collection is a museum to yourself. And I've argued this for a very long time over and over and over again. Every single item on your shelf or in your room or in your house says something on a personal level about or to you. One of my prized possessions in the entirety of my collection is a Coca-Cola bear. Because when I was growing up, I used to go see my grandfather all the time. And on the bed, I remember, he had a Coca-Cola bear that he would set on the bed after he made it in the middle of the bed. And that was the bed that I slept on. And something about that stuck with me my whole life. I never took that bear home with me. I looked forward to going to my grandfather's and that bear being on the bed when I walked in the room. It was like a strange, comforting thing that the bear was still there. So when he died, I took that bear. And it's important to me. And there would be 100 other collectors, 1,000,000 other collectors that would look across my shelf, see the Coca-Cola bear, and probably go, "Why is that up there with all the superheroes and stuff? What's that about?" What's about me? All of this collection is about me. It's about the things that speak to me, the things that I enjoy. And so when a negative collector comes along and tries to tell me how to collect or why to collect or prices or this or that, not that those opinions cannot be valid in some form or another, but if you're just dripping negativity, I'll tell you exactly how I deal with that. I don't have anything to say to you at all, because it's not your collection. And just like I'm not about to go onto somebody else's collection, look at their stuff, and immediately go, "I wouldn't have bought that. You're stupid for having bought that." No, I wouldn't have bought that. That's a true statement. And maybe there's a reason behind why that particular version of the character doesn't speak to me. And I might be able to relay that information to you. But it should not change how you feel about it, because for whatever reason you bought it because it spoke to you. And that's the difference. And it's the absolute beauty of what we've already trained ourselves to do. We cherry pick stuff we like. So continue that mentality forward and cherry pick the positive parts of the community that you like and leave the rest of it behind. Don't put it on your shelf. And your action figure community, it will be positive. Later on.